All right, everybody. I'm gonna give everybody a chance to hit the chat. We are here with another episode. I am here with my boy, Mr. I am A.O. Baker on Twitter,
Peace,
but
peace,
Mr.
peace, peace.
but Mr. A.O. Baker, thank you for joining me this week on All Elite with Keeks. You are actually the first guest um of this season, of this new year for me. So thank you. Thank you for saying yes. I
Nah,
appreciate
I
it.
appreciate it. As soon as I saw you throw the bat signal up, who wants to come and hang out with Keeks on the show? We've been following each other on socials for a little bit. You're always very supportive of everything that I've been doing and my team has been doing. So it's my honor. Appreciate you for extending the invite.
I love y'all. Y'all probably in my top 5 podcasters. Some of them I had to move to the side because some people losing the bait or something. They losing it, but y'all remain based. Y'all, y'all bring out the opinions, but y'all also have facts with y'all opinions. And I love y'all humor and y'all chemistry and everything. So I greatly appreciate you coming. If you join the chat, y'all know my rules. We retreat. We treat my guests with respect on the chat. You already know my rules. If it gets, if you feel away with certain people's opinions, you will be out of here. I don't hesitate either cussing you out or getting you up out of here. I don't play them games on this show. So make sure y'all treat Mr. AO with respect. Treat others the way you want to be treated on my show. Y'all already know the rules, okay? So this week we're gonna talk about, of course, Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, briefly ROH, Women Business. Hey Eddie. And also we're gonna talk about we're in the season of Revolution. Revolution is coming up, the first pay-per-view of AEW. Off to we'll get into it, but it's gonna be something. It is Sting's last pay-per-view. It is damn near sold out. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be crazy for his last night in wrestling for good this time. We know he retired like twice, but he said this is over, 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 like over. That's what he said. So um, let's get into it. Y'all know I got my handy dandy notebook.
I
All right,
came
so
prepared with mine, man. We took notes. We took notes, so we good to go.
gotta take notes. Okay, so first off is the openings for both Dynamite and Collision. Dynamite, it opened up with Samoa Joe opening up, and also afterwards it was Adam Page versus Penta. Samoa Joe was in commentary, and then also on Collision for their opening it was Shane Taylor, Lee Moriarty versus John Moxley and Claudio. Um, so Samoa Joe opening, he, basically confirming what we already knew about the rankings. He basically was saying ain't no scrubs gonna be in this ranking this time. We had a lot of scrubs in the rankings previously. That's what was kind of messing it up, and then it wasn't being consistent. But this time he's saying you got to be worthy to be ranked. So we'll see how this ranking system will be this year, because they did say that they made a few changes to it, and with the help of Samoa Joe and rumored also Bryan Danielson. So we'll see how this goes. And then Hook came out, and Hook was talking about, you beat me, but I will see you again or whatever. Now that was awkward because I was just looking like,
Yep.
oh, okay, that was that was real awkward. But you know what? I ain't gonna be too hard on him because he barely talked like that, and then when he does talk, he just like, oh, okay, yes.
I I
Mm-mm.
think Hook like has all the ingredients as far as in the ring. He has like obviously a lot of training, whatever his martial arts background is. We all know who his pops, is Taz, legendary dude, submission wrestling, MMA influence. But it's really two things. There's only two holes in this game right now. He doesn't need to talk that much for starters, but it's just
Right.
like a little bit of timing here and there as far as like the fluidity of the match. And then just on the microphone or even just his body language, sometimes he plays that tough a little too far, and then it becomes like a role that you're playing as opposed to me actually believing that that's who you are. So just let it come naturally. He should have more of like I don't really care. It can go down versus I'm the baddest dude you'll ever see. But other than that, like I thought it was a cool segment. At least a nice follow up to their match last week.
Right. You can tell that his father gives him criticism each time because he adjusted each time. Like, we'll probably be like, oh, that was this. And then you could tell his dad's probably like, hey, just work on this a little bit. And then you could tell the difference each time. So you could tell he's willing to learn, and he's able to adjust. So it was awkward, but he's young. So we still love him or whatever. And then after that, Samoa Joe ended up in commentary where he was kind of saying, where did Hook get that behavior from and all of this other stuff. Penta and Hangman's Page match. Hangman Page, he is still technically out for Samoa Joe, and then Penta is Penta. So, that it was a good match between the two. It was a slow start at first. It was slow at first, and it picked up in the middle of the match. Did you enjoy that match?
It was solid. Like for starters, you can't go wrong with either of these two. These are two of the most reliable wrestlers that AEW has had. The only thing that makes it tough to enjoy this match is like on paper, and as I'm watching it, I know it's a good match, but at no point do I think that Penta is winning the match. So it takes a little bit of the drama out because we know that Hangman Page is on a collision course for Swerve or Joe or both at some point in the next month or so. But as far as like the fundamentals of the match, it was hard hitting, and you can't go wrong. There's nothing whack about Penta ever. You know what I mean? So, and then the power of the mustache has been what's been driving Hangman Page lately. So he's been doing all right. I'm glad that they got him kind of with a little bit of momentum and refocus as opposed to just kind of floundering as it seems like from time to time he happens to do. But it was a dope match for sure.
Yes, because that was one of the major complaints is we always wanted Hangman Page on our television. And they're finally doing that because, like the rankings, like he said, you have to be worthy to be ranked or whatever. Um, on Collision, again, the opener was Shane Taylor, Lee Moriarty. I always fuck up his name. John Moxley and Claudio. Now this to me very very strong style, and this is also brought out Lee Moriarty as far as him being a heel. His heel character is playing out in ring wise too. Like he plays those mind games because he was doing it to Moxley, and then he was also doing it to Claudio. And then you got Shane Taylor. He's just hard hitting, like just hard hitting them. And then the strength of Claudio, and then John Moxley with his brutal style, brutal technician. That's what I call him. It was a great match overall. I actually enjoy their little rivalry. I know it won't be for long, but I do enjoy, what they're doing with them right now. Did you enjoy that as well?
This has been my favorite thing across the last week, or even a little bit longer, specifically to Moriarty, because he had the match with Adam Copeland also. I'm a Lee Moriarty guy. Like, if I was picking, like, draft picking wrestlers that haven't been world champions yet, but I think are on their way, Moriarty's my guy. And like I'm a big fan. Like he put a little magazine out. Like I bought straight from him. I just ordered a T-shirt. He's from that same class of like people that looked up to Zack Sabre Jr., who's probably one of my favorite dudes. Brian Danielson, like super super technical. But them finally adding that little sprinkle of an attitude of a little bit more aggression, he's putting it together because he has everything else. He has the brand Tiger style. Everything you see, he actually designed his merch, his logo, all of that. The music is kind of dope. And then Shane Taylor as well. Like he had Ring of Honor on his back for some time also before it was purchased by Tony Khan. So the combination makes a lot of sense, and it's good to have like the measuring sticks in AEW are always either the BCC or the Elite at any given time. So I think what they're doing is being able to put them in the mix with people who we know are reliable, and let's see what they do. And they've been able to have competent matches, very hard hitting, strong style matches, like you mentioned. And yeah, what they've been doing, STP and specifically Moriarty over the last week or so, has been some of my favorite stuff from this past week.
Right, right. But yes, of course, they picked up the win, Claudio and John Moxley. So we're gonna move on to the next match. That was up. It was Wardlow versus Trent Beretta. And also for Collision for the AEW International Championship, it was Orange Cassidy versus Commander. Now Wardlow, I'm trying to be
Yep.
patient. I'm really, really trying to be patient with Warlow. I just don't know. I don't want to say maybe AEW is not for him. I think Warlow may be a WWE guy.
I think he's at this point just a goon. You know what I mean? Like he has a couple of cool moves or whatever, but I think like we got really gassed because he was legitimately over. But
Yeah.
even if they continued in that direction, I'm not sure how long that was going to last. Hindsight being 2020, obviously, but I'm not sure how long that momentum was really going to last because he hasn't really added anything new to his game or his presentation, and he's had a
Yeah.
bunch of starts, a bunch of stops, a bunch of starts, a bunch of stops, and now he's back to being a goon. Like I don't see how this, him being in the kingdom really helps him moving forward anyway. Besides just being another dude behind the guy.
Yeah, yeah. Because when I saw him with Adam Cole, I'm like, okay, maybe it's a potential with something. Maybe when Adam Cole is healed or something, it'll work out. But I just don't see it. I know the plan is they're saying that he's going to win, and then he's going to give the belt to Adam Cole. But I just don't even see that.
Yeah, I think the only way the only way you can kind of redeem that is to present Wardlow as the guy that outsmarted the guy that outsmarted everybody else. So he
Yes,
has to use them to get to the title or a title at least, and then say, "All right, I don't need y'all anymore," and just kind of walk off without handing it to Adam Cole. If they don't do that, I don't know how this works.
but that's predictable too, though.
You're right. You're right, but I don't think
That's
there's any. I don't think there's anything that's better that they can do with him. It's it's
I'm
it's,
a
it's rough.
I just don't know. But Triple Retta, I love him. He's a workhorse. I mean, we
Yeah.
know he gonna lose, but he gonna give it all he got, and he always
Right.
do. So I love him. He's MVP all the time. And then his man's on even after the match, Orange Cassidy. I love Orange Cassidy. He be letting folks know that I'm not scared of none of y'all. He just look right at you like, okay. Cause he got up in there and he just looking at him like, are y'all gonna fight or what? What
Yeah.
we gonna do? What is we doing? I love that about Orange Cassidy. On Collision, he had the match against Commander. Now at first it was a little rough with them at first, and then they ended up picking up the momentum. They started reading their chemistry better, so the match ended up picking off again, like in the middle. They found their footing, and it was a good match between the two. And I love Commander, I always did since AAA. And of course I love Orange Cassidy. That's my man. So I love those two. And of course, we know that it's going to potentially lead to Orange Cassidy facing Roderick Strong, which we'll talk about later on in the show. Did you enjoy this match?
Yeah, I think like you mentioned, it started off a little shaky, but Orange Cassidy in lucha situations is always money at some point. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
Commander's another dude that's consistent. Like I unfortunately I'm starting to get a little bit more into lucha, specifically CMLL because they got the Fantastic Mania tour coming up, and even AAA. Like I'm familiar with a lot of the people, but I haven't watched a lot of AAA itself. But I've only really been familiar with Commander since he's been in AEW, and like performance wise, he's money. I just think like in with some of the lucha guys, I really want one or somebody to pick up like a signature win at some point, so it's not like a
Yeah.
foregone conclusion. But other than that, like the match was solid. And Orange Cassidy can wrestle that style with the best of them.
Right. Right.
Wasn't
That's
he? Wasn't he? Didn't he have like a lucha name like the Ant or the Red Ant or something like that?
yeah.
Yeah,
You talking about Orange Cassidy when he was masked up?
yeah. I think he had
Yeah, I
like another
believe
name.
so.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. So yeah, he familiar with that stuff. So um moving on. I know. Oh yeah, and we'll talk about that later because I was going to say he accepted Roger Strong, but we'll talk about towards the Revolution end, and then after that, on Dynamite it was Jeff Hardy versus Swerve Strickland, and also on Collision Eddie Kingston versus Willie Meg. Um, I said it on Twitter. Jeff Hardy, it seems like he's finding his love for wrestling again because it was another great performance by him. The first one was against Darby Allin. This one was pretty good too. I enjoyed it. Of course, I enjoyed Swerve, and I enjoyed Jeff Hardy. So another great match between Jeff Hardy. We will see because this is the second loss, and he's not taking it well. So maybe he'll Jeff Hardy.
that's what it's looking like. I think he's figured out. First of all, he's wrestling singles and not tag, and
Mm,
because
no,
talk about being on your last legs, man. Matt, bro, what are we doing?
no shade.
You know what I mean? But like Jeff, he has a little bit more aggression. That match that he had with Darby last week, when he smacked him right out of the gate. So
Mm-hmm.
he's adding a little bit, heel Jeff Hardy back in TNA was money. So I don't want to see, like, he's not gonna wrestle in the main events, but I think at this point, him having nice little mini feuds with other people that are on their way up is definitely the spot for him. And as long as his body
Mm-hmm.
can hold up, why not? I wasn't really
Yeah.
for Jeff coming in the first place, but he's this match was dope, and the match last week with Darby was dope. So I can only judge you by the last thing you did.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I was just like, he doesn't necessarily have to come, but I mean, if he come, okay. But I was more concerned with him just making sure he stayed, healthy and
Yeah,
mentally there and all of the other stuff. But it looks like he's okay now, and it's showing. I know that he tweeted out, not tweeted, but on Instagram, he was a little frustrated by being on Rampage all the time and stuff like that. So they've been putting him on Collision and Dynamite. So
yeah. I know every
we'll
time
see.
I see him go up for that swanton, I get nervous because it takes him a little longer each time to stand up, bro.
He be climbing them ropes, and I'm just like,
Yeah. Like, come on,
and
bro.
sometimes he'll flip a little late too, and I'm just like, bro, stop, like,
we just want to watch the
please,
show. I don't want to see anything too bad here.
we do not want another situation, please, like, that's the last thing I need or anybody else need. And then Collision, it was Eddie Kingston versus Willie Mack. I did really enjoy this match. These two, Willie Mack was giving Eddie Kingston that work. If you ain't watched that match, he was on his ass. Willie Mack was
Yo,
on him.
Willie is so versatile. I was a little scared because it looked like he did something to his knee. He might have tweaked his knee a little bit, and then
Mm-hmm.
on what ended up being a senton, but I guess he wanted to hit a shooting star, standing shooting star. That didn't look so good. Other than that, though, this was
Like
a
he
dope,
changed his
like,
like he changed his mind
yeah,
mid move.
midair. Yeah, he was like, nah, and but nah, it was cool because, like, both of them hit hard. Like Eddie Kingston in
Mm-hmm.
there. It's not that often that Eddie Kingston is in there with a dude that's like of a similar size, like body build either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was cool to see that. And Willie Mack is another one of those dudes that's reliable. I think the first time I came across him might have been Lucha Underground, and there's no such thing as a whack Willie Mack match. Say that 5 times fast. There's no such thing as a whack Willie Mack match. So it was cool.
It was very cool because I know Willie Mack, he always wrestles in Mexico too. He's being in AAA matches, and I tell him every time the ladies love Willie Mack out there in Mexico. He comes out and they just be bras is thrown. Is yes, bras is
Yeah.
thrown. Uh, one lady threw panties. Like they love him out there because they
Hey, Willie south of the border living.
yeah. And
Yeah,
he
he's
he
living out here.
jokingly said one time, it was on somebody's interview, and he jokingly said, "How about the ladies love me down there? I might just move down there."
Yeah, that should be his new gimmick, man. Ladies love Willie Mack.
Hmm. Yeah, the ladies be screaming, the dudes be confused. I'm like, yeah, black men are not ugly. I don't. They're yeah, the black of the berry out there. So that was definitely a great match. Willie Max he has a great counterattacks all the time. He was definitely countering a lot of Eddie Kingston's defenses and everything. I enjoyed it. Willie
Yeah, for
Mack, a
sure.
Mexican hero.
Yeah, right.
That's what he said in the who was that? Sean said that. Okay. Next up, it was Dynamite, the AEW World Trios Championship, the Acclaimed versus Mongol Embassy, and then on Dynamite, it was Yuji Nagata versus Brian Danielson. Dynamite, I did like the Bang Bang Gang entrance.
Yeah,
I loved
yeah.
it.
I mean, it seems like we're getting to who's they could probably going to turn on him, but for the time being, it's cool. I just wish, honestly, there was a little bit more of a interaction between Billy and his kids, so we can see what that dynamic is, because they never
They
tied that up
have.
too tough.
They
Yeah.
have, because I said last week because it's a story in that. If you notice, not Austin, but the other one,
Colton.
yes, he was the one that was kind of hey, it's a good idea and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think,
Okay.
so I had said last week, I think what's going to happen is he is going to be conflicted because he probably don't want to betray his dad.
That's dope. And then that might lead to a little conflict between him and his brother or something like that. Like he
Mm-hmm.
wants to do it more than the other one wants to. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see
I
that.
can see
Yeah,
that.
for the
And
time being, it's cool, and I like the the entrance music itself being fresh, and I like it. I like it.
I loved it. And like I said all the time, Mongol Embassy, they have 3 different styles of powerhouses, and I love their dynamic. I like this faction a lot. But it's obvious they're going to focus more on Khan and uh the Gates of Agony. They're gonna probably put them more in the tag team division. And then Brian Cage is gonna do his thing outside of that
Right.
too. So I could see that because we need more in the tag team division anyway.
Right.
But overall, it was a good match. We knew that Mongol Embassy wasn't winning. The Acclaim is retaining. I feel like what they're going to end up doing is unifying the ROH
Mm-hmm.
um, championship with the AEW because it makes no sense to have two when most of the trios is in ROH and you can always put them on AEW and make it one big thing.
Yeah, like the
When it
division
makes
isn't
sense.
that big for them to have two sets of belts that kind of accomplish the
Exactly.
same thing, right?
Exactly. And then on Collision again, it was Brian Danielson versus another legend from Japan. Great match.
Craziness, craziness.
Crazy match. The man is 55. That is crazy.
55 years old, double nickel, and he's out here still credible. Like he looks like he can go. I think they mentioned that he's trying to wrestle until he's 70, and hey, so far so good, man. This was a solid match. Like he's not obviously the most nimble or agile anymore, but that's not
Right.
necessary. They said, and they also said on commentary that the strength is the last to go, and he's hitting them with some like really strong shots. The chops, the kicks are
Yeah.
there, and Danielson could have a 5-star match with me. You know what I mean? And I've never wrestled. You dig? So Danielson is the GOAT, period. He can get in there. So he made Nagata look like $1,000,000. I love the commentary team also. Like Eddie sat in on the commentary and gave you, between him and everybody else on commentary, if you were not familiar with Yuji Nagata before the match, you knew everything you needed to know. All the stats, that he was an ace in New Japan. He's had, 2 times over here, Triple Crown this. He's been across all
Mhm.
Japan. He's been across, every promotion out there. So you knew exactly who Yuji Nagata was if you weren't familiar. And then the match spoke for itself. They did it. They did it.
And it was the way Brian Danielson just walked on out and like disrespected Eddie Kingston, just walked past him like he
Yeah.
wasn't even there.
Yeah,
I
I
like that.
like that dynamic because like Eddie Kingston, and he's been the guy who flies off the handle a little bit. He has the temper, and he's like it's frustrating
New
Brian
Yorkers.
because yeah, well that's it's
No
aggressive.
shade. No.
It's too many
What I
people
didn't
living
say
on
on
top of
Twitter the other
people.
day. I said all the time. I said if New York is not mean to you, they don't care about you.
It's just too many people here. Like the lines are too long. It's too many people on the sidewalk. Like just get out of the way. That's how it
When
is.
I went out there to New York and I'm showing my Southern hospitality, and I get into it with a girl at the airport because I call her ma'am, and she was like, "What the?" And I'm
What's that supposed to mean, right? Because it's like
like,
yo,
"Who
because
you
I
talking
have
to?" And we getting loud with each other, and the dude's like, "No, no, wait a minute, okay, okay."
like, no, I'm just, this is how that's how it is though. It's all love. It's love. But
It's
yeah,
okay.
I think it's good though. Like I think like because like Eddie is the guy who's like I've been known to fly you off the handle when it's frustrating him that he can't get to me yet. So that's they on the collision course, no pun intended, and this is cool. I like it.
Right, right. And then we'll get down to the main event because women business is women business. That's always last. I saved the best for last. The main event for Dynamite, it was Adam Copeland versus Suzuki. And then on Collision, it was the Escape the Cage elimination. It was a House of Black versus FTR and Daniel Garcia. It's been some riffraff today on Twitter for some reason. They trying to say that the rules will change. I was trying to understand what the hooping and hollering was. I'm like, are they trying to say I
Um,
was confused. Was Malachi Black trying to say that wasn't how it's supposed to go, or what? I ain't.
I think it was something to the effect of like the cage match. There were 2 different posters, I think, and the name
Oh,
of the type of cage match changed, but the actual stipulations never really changed. It was just a poster just to try to make it more clear, I think was what they were saying. But I don't
Oh,
know,
okay,
man.
okay.
Pick a
Well,
day and people are going to find something to be upset about.
yeah, because I was like, what? Okay, what's the big deal?
Like, was
I
the
didn't
match
know,
dope?
nobody
Yes.
asked
What?
for it.
Yeah. What are we talking about? Like, the match was dope. What are we arguing about? What are we mad about?
Right, y'all did a good match. I thought it was good, but I'm gonna get to Adam Copeland and Suzuki. I knew that man was gonna win, and I cannot stand Adam Copeland. I can't stand Edge. I just knew he was gonna win. He beat Suzuki with a spear. I
I will say this. I on the pod was not like, as soon as it was rumored that Edge was coming to become Adam Copeland in AEW, it was another dude I didn't want to see. Like, even less than Jeff. I never been an Edge guy. I never
thank
saw
you.
what the big deal was. Like,
Thank
he's
you.
cool. Like, he's okay. I'm not gonna say he's trash. He's also not amazing. He's okay. He's a good hand. And then when people put him in the conversation of like, oh, he's one of the goats, like, I just never saw it. With
The
that
Paul
being said,
Pierce of the ruthless aggression era. I keep saying it.
I
I'm gonna
called
stand
him I called him the Common. Like, Common, the rapper Common. Like, Common is okay. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna say he's whack. He's also not amazing. But people to put him up there like, oh, you gotta hear what Common said. I heard it. It was all right. What are we talking about? Like, what are we talking
I
about?
never saw it with Edge. He was cool in the tag team when it was him and Christian. I was like, okay, they cool,
Yeah.
but him solo, I was just like, I don't see it.
I don't get it. Now, I will say, I say all that to say, since he's been in AEW, I think the variety of matches that he's had, I mean, it's a given. Him and Christian are going to do what they do because I think they give each other more freedom than they'll probably give somebody else at the end of the ring with. But this was
Mhm.
cool because this was something that you don't ever expect to see a strong style Adam Copeland match. And I think he held his own as best as he possibly could. I think he did all right.
Suzuki was beating his ass up. Like
Hey,
he,
you get in there, you're going to
and
get hit.
I've always said, anybody that's used to one way or a certain style of wrestling, they always give him Suzuki to get you prepared for strong
Right.
style or any type. Because he been fantasy booking. I want to face Kenny Omega. I want to face Okada. I want to face. I'm like, you gonna
Yeah,
so you can beat them on a spear and piss me off like he did Wednesday. Piss me off, dude. I'm
yeah,
like,
the running hug. That was, it's the running hug. That's what that is.
I'm glad
But I think
Suzuki
like
did
I
all
think
he
he
did.
did as good as you were going to get Adam Copeland to do in that type of match, and it was cool. Like, I think as his run so far in AEW has been better than I expected to be, and that's the best compliment I can pay him.
Yeah, I can say that the Cope, what he call it,
The
Cope
Cope
Open.
Open, yeah,
It
yo, he
I
beat
guess
Lee.
I guess I could say he proven himself a little bit, trying to get used to
Yeah,
AEW style with everything because we got all types of style in in the company. So he's trying to get used to everybody. I applaud him for that. At least he's not here like that doesn't work for me, brother, or nothing like that.
right. Yeah, he's not coasting. Like, I think he could have came in here and just did a run with Christian and then said, all right, I'm out. Or people that he's already wrestled with and said, all right, I'm good. But, he's mixing it up. Like, he had the match with Moriarty. There's a couple other people that you never would expect to see on the poster with Adam Copeland. So I give him credit for that. Like, he's trying different things and seeing what
Griff
styles work. And
Garrison.
yeah, right. I like Griff too. I
I
like
do
Griff too.
too.
Yeah, I like Griff. I like Griff.
Every time I see him, I think about that the BTE of Brody Lee
Oh,
when he was
who
like,
is
"That's
who is
not
Griff?
Jungle Boy, that's Griff Garrison."
Right.
Who the fuck is Griff Garrison? Okay, and then of course Collision again. It was FTR Daniel Garcia versus House of Black. Great exit cage match.
Yeah.
This was going on while the Roman match was going on Royal Rumble, so I was kind of flicking on and off a little bit because I want to see how that match was gonna go while I'm watching
Mm-hmm.
this match, and this match caught my attention the most. So, again, Brody King, MVP in my opinion.
Star. Yep.
Brody King. I don't know. House of Black kind of holding him back. I'm
I
just
think
saying.
like we saw what he could do as a singles specific. Like, he was shining in the Continental Classic. You know what I mean? Like that was one of the first times that people got to consistently see him wrestle as a singles, and he's got it all. You know, he's got the legitimacy because of his size. He can move. We know what he can do with lucha, with smaller opponents, with the handful of people that are at least his size. He can wrestle on the outside. He has the best crowd connection because anytime he's doing something, the
Mm-hmm.
crowd is doing that bark or whatever.
Yep.
Um, yeah,
Me, I was doing
he's
it.
from the crib, from the
When
crib
me and
at the
my sister
TV.
went to Collision, we was doing it.
Yo, he's money. He's money.
He is. And obviously this match was like a standout for Daniel Garcia, which he needed because to get out that little ruffle from last year. He was barely in matches, and we know the jazz thing was holding him back and things like that. But a win, Daniel Garcia took the win, so it was like a showcasing for him. So to get Daniel Garcia ready, because he's saying this is his year, and I believe that it is his year for 2024. I feel like Dave Garcia is going to be our 2024 Owen Hart tournament winner this year.
That's a good call. That's a good call. They've
Mm-hmm.
put so much of an investment in him. And that whole story arc for starting back with the Jericho, the society or whatever. Are you a wrestler, a sports entertainer? And it's all been about him like finding the perfect mix of all of the above, and also finding himself again. You know, he loses his confidence. He's
Yeah.
lost, and now he's starting to put it all together. And now you see he's the aggressor now. You know, he's like,
Yeah.
nah, you got to come back in here. Like he outsmarted Malachi Black at the end of this
Yep.
cage match. You know, Malachi Black could have just walked on out and it would have been a victory. He suckered him in, and it turned out all right for him.
And that looked like a little bit of Danielson influence when he did that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Wrestling very smart.
And that's honestly kind of strong style in a way, also, where it's like I'm gonna let you hit me as hard as you can because you don't have it in you to beat me.
Yeah. It's like he's learning to it's okay to take punches, it's okay to take it. I'm gonna eat it each time.
Right,
It's fueling me. So
right.
yeah. All right, so that is it for the main card. So we're gonna get into Rampage. We're just gonna skim through Rampage. Friday Night Rampage. We had John Moxley versus Lee Moriarty, which started up the match for Collision. John Moxley ended up taking the win, but he was, he got beat up by Shane Taylor and stuff like that. Claudio came out, and that's, that was that. It was also announced on Rampage CMLL is coming to AEW. That's the major thing. Now, for you fantasy bookers, do not think certain AE Luchas will be in the same ring with CMLL. The beef is real between CMLL and
Mm-hmm.
AAA. Blood is literally will be shed, and it's a serious beef with them, and they don't want to lose their partnership with CMLL. That Rocky Romero, kudos to him, got together for AEW. So if you don't see Penta in a ring with one of the CMLL stars, that's because that. If you don't see AAA or CMLL or Roosh, definitely no, because Roosh left on a bad note. Like him and his, like they beat up people backstage and left, and they are banned from CMLL. So you expect not to see that at all. So CMLL wrestlers, they will showcase, but the deal is that Penta or Ray Phoenix or any of the AE Lucha that we already have, they cannot be in the same ring with the CMLL stars. It's nothing personal. It's just CMLL and AAA. Okay, so that's what that is. It's beef since before any of us was born. Okay, that's how long it's been. That beef is old as time. So yeah, it's a long beef. As long
Yeah,
as we don't
yeah.
send Del Rio. No, Del Rio is not coming to AEW, but more likely
Del
Del Rio will
Rio.
be the next AAA champion down there, and that's more so because of his father. So I mean, I want to say this in Mexico, whatever crime that they did in the U.S., they don't give a fuck about in Mexico. Okay, if they ain't do it in Mexico, they don't care. Whatever you did in the U.S., that's the U.S. business. But we hate him out here, but they love him down there. He had got a pop. Okay, they love him down there because his family, his father. Okay,
See, he came out. He was with what, Conan and somebody else, right?
They was cheering. They was cheering like crazy. They was happy. Okay, so we don't like him. They love him. So it is what it is. Yep. That's another country thing. Y'all know, we canceled them, but they didn't. Okay, because they like, oh, that's U.S. Oh,
yeah, they
gotta do with us.
What are you gonna do?
White woman? No. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm not condoning it. Don't take this out of context. I'm just saying that's the mindset.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, and then after that it was Takeshita versus Christopher Daniels, and then that followed by Don Callis came out saying that Kyle Fletcher is facing Chris Jericho. Unfortunately, I don't know where they're going with this. Don Callis family, they just need to get ended. Just get rid of it. Okay, it's not.
Yeah, I thought that and it could maybe it has something to do with the Omega injury, but even before that, I think like it was what I thought the purpose of the Don Callis family was going to be was we got like a hitter's row, a bunch of killers, and then this is what Kenny Omega has to go through to get back to, the main event. He has to go through Powerhouse Hobbs. He has to go through Takeshita. There's a lot of young talent there also. Like the one cool thing that I thought from jump was that all of these guys are on the come up. Kyle Fletcher on the come up, Powerhouse Hobbs on the come up. And then since then, it's been, I don't know what the hell they're doing. This is always really more about Don Callis than it is about them. And it's kind of time to break that up. Like, just what are we doing here? Like you have for instance, if you're not going to push Takeshita as a singles and you're not going to push Hobbs as a singles, you got a tag team that nobody should be able to beat. Imagine them against the, two of the Mogul Embassy dudes. Like that's, big meaty men slapping meat.com right there. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, but it was good to see Takeshita in the singles match. I don't even think he knows
what he's doing.
Yeah, nah, they don't. They don't. Sometimes it's just like, oh, you showed up. All right, cool. Go out there. 10 minutes.
I don't know. Yeah. And then it's bad enough that Jericho still has that stain from weeks ago. So
get
nobody
his ass out of here, man. Like he was already
don't
like
nobody
on the
want
list.
to see him on screen.
Nah, he was already like nobody wanted to see it. I was already like over Jericho. At least go away for a minute and hit the refresh button and come back like he's been doing. But then when all that shit came out, it's like, bro, I'm good on you, right? Like backstage, you should kind of pull dude off TV, look under the hood, see what's going on, and make sure it ain't nothing too crazy. And
I would have been fine if he just did commentary at Rampage and not just be in the ring like he was doing. I'd rather him just do that, but obviously he did not want to go home to that lady, so period.
He gotta move out. That's rough waters over there.
So
in an election year too. In an election year too, it's about to get nuts crazier.
Yeah, it's crazy. But maybe he'll pick up once Will Ospreay comes to AEW. Cause
do you think Will Ospreay is going to be part of the Callis family, or because he was kind of sort of, but by hire only? So do you think that he's going to join up with him?
I think he's going to take the family from Don Callis and make it his own.
Okay, that'd be dope.
I can kind of see that.
An extension on the United Empire or something fresh.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of fire.
I do see that. Please, somebody rescue them or do something. And then the main event, it was, of course, Vikingo Commander versus Kip Sabian. Shout out to the Kip Sabian stands. We still here. They count us out every time. And versus Butcher. And then, of course, Commander takes the win because he faced Orange Cassidy at Collision. Vikingo, he was willing to drop the title to still perform at AEW. He loves it there.
Is he signed there and signed to AAA? Like, does he have like a full-time contract with AEW or?
I don't know. I want to say yes, but at the same time, he's still signed with AAA. But he's willing to drop the title.
Yeah, they're not
because I think what it was, as long as he was still champion, they was telling him he still couldn't do AEW. He only had to do Impact. But he probably like, but hey, my buddies are over here. I want to be with the gang.
Yeah, exactly. They
I
just
want to be
gonna
with
book
my
him to never
people.
lose that title. Yeah, they gonna
Right,
book him just to never lose the title, just so they can have access to him. He about to be the
right,
longest reigning champion of any promotion ever, just cause now we still need him over
right. I want to be with my people. My people's over here. I mean, I fucked with them at Impact, but my people's is over here. Like
here.
the whole gang, I eat and we hang out.
Yeah, exactly.
And then being that Black Tyrus, which is his main man, signed to AEW, so that was
Right.
probably like, you know what?
Yeah. I want to do hood rat shit with my friends, man. Let me go.
Right. And he young too. He was just like, I'm the longest reigning AAA champion. I made my little impact. I want to be with my friends.
Yeah, he's never losing that title.
Right. I want to hang out with my friends. So we had that, and then we'll just recap a little bit of ROH. It was episode 48. Make sure y'all watch it. I had to recap on that. It was the Righteous. They ended up defeating Camaro Jackson and Anaya. It was Nyla Rose. She ended up defeating Laney Luck. That's her name. If I mispronounced it, I'm so sorry. Zach Knight defeated Aaron Solo. Aaron Solo doing his thing on ROH. Griff Garrison and Cole Carter with Maria, of course. They defeated Angelico and Serpentico.
I like Griffin Cole.
I do too.
Yeah, I like Griffin Cole. Like they're down there, especially with Maria, who's been ROH forever. Like that's a nice little combo. They have potential.
Cole Carter, he's had indie matches out here, and he would call me in certain one of us because when he'll wrestle, we'll jokingly call him daddy, and he'll say, I have the daddy's girls. But it's cool seeing him at ROH. But he's definitely a good wrestler. He used to play football and everything. After that, we had a Blake Christian. I like Blake Christian. Willie Mack, they defeated the Outrunners. The women's ROH women business, it was Diamante, Layla Gray. It was good seeing Layla Gray. I hadn't seen her in a while. Taya Valkyrie defeated Kiera Hogan, Lady Frost, and Trish Adora. And then you had Layla Hirsch and Rachel Erwin. They did an interview with Lexi Nair. They working to be a team, but you could tell Layla is coming for that ROH, possibly the TV championship.
Yeah, a lot of passive aggressive energy between the two of them.
Yeah,
it's working.
Yeah. Definitely. I don't know how long they're gonna last. You had Lee Johnston and the infantry. That's a good fit for Lee Johnston because I've been saying if you just put Lee Johnston with somebody, it will work. And when I seen him with the infantry, I like that chemistry between those three. A possible trio.
I'm a big fan of the infantry also. Like I like what they're doing. Trish Adora, that faction, period. Like I like what they're doing. They put together something. They have a nice, unique moveset, And it's again just more repetition and fighting people that I think are better than them is what's going to help. Also, Iron Savage is just pure entertainment. That's the debauchery. They're out here just wilding. But that was a cool match.
Very cool. And then Red Velvet was on ROH and she defeated Heather Reckless. Nyla Rose again with her antics. She was throwing Athena's gear in the trash and everything.
Bugging.
I like Nyla Rose in ROH. It fits her. It's perfect for her. And the Nyla Rose and Athena match, I know it's gonna hit like crazy.
Yeah, I think like Nyla Rose is able to bring her Twitter personality onto the screen a lot more in ROH than she was on AEW TV for sure.
Yes, most definitely. Billy Starks, she went against Tootie Lane, and of course she defeated her. Billy Starks is also another one that's interested in the ROH Women's TV Championship. They haven't released the tournament as of yet, but I'm pretty certain she will be in it. Ethan Page defeated Cody Lane. Ethan Page is coming for Kyle Fletcher's belt. And Ethan Page, he chose to be on ROH. I know some people are like, why is he in ROH? But he chose to be on ROH. He was inspired by what Athena was doing. So he wants to do that too. And Jerry Lynn, he was interviewed by Lexi Nair. Dalton Castle, of course, interrupted him. Johnny TV was there, but Johnny TV ended up escaping again, doing that creep or whatever he was doing. I don't know how he did that, but he did that. And then you had Abandon versus Robin Renegade. I love Robin Renegade. Of course, Abandon defeated Robin Renegade. Abandon is also another one that is coming for the ROH Women's TV Championship. I think they are interested in that belt. Okay. Respect the pronouns, y'all.
They're probably going to be the finals. That's probably going to be the finals. Abaddon versus Billy Starks, I think. That's probably going to be the finals.
Yep, I can see that. And then Jack Cartwheel, I love Jack Cartwheel. Defeated John Cruz, a veteran in the Indies and also in ROH. He was defeated. And then Action Andrade, the water merchant, defeated Anthony Henry. You know, Action Andrade be deep throating water bottles and stuff.
Hey, yo, that was crazy.
Hey, yo, that was crazy.
Holy shit.
He do. Like, he be doing it with the be deep throwing the water bottles and stuff. And then for the main event, it was the 4 corner survival match. Rocky Romero versus JD Drake, Josh Woods, and Slim J. Oh, that wasn't the last match. I'm sorry. But Rocky Romero ended up winning that match on ROH. And then also for the main event, it was the Undisputed versus Gravity and Gringo Loco. And of course, the Undisputed defended those two to retain the ROH World Tag Team Championship. Okay, so that was ROH Recap episode 48. Now let's get into women business.
This is what you need to do. You need to stay out of women business.
Tell them, Nene. You need to stay out of women business. So if you're a man, everybody knows the rules. If you're a man, you have to raise your hand if you have something to say, okay? And then I will call on you if I feel like it, okay? But since you've been nice, I will call on you.
I come in peace, I promise. I come in peace.
Yes, come in peace. Okay, so in Dynamite for Women Business, it was, of course, the sit down with Deonna Purrazzo and Toni Storm with Renee. They had a sit down. I love how they had the black and white on Toni Storm for her character. Deonna looked amazing. She looks like the body was in. The outfit was outfitting. That's not a word. I don't care. The makeup was on point. She looked great. Y'all tried to body shame this. Y'all is a fool. Y'all is crazy. Something is wrong with y'all because she came out there. I need to know where she got that outfit from. Okay. But they sat down and it was, like I had said, it's some history between the two in overseas and everything. They got matching tattoos. They showed their matching frog tattoos. They were friends. They was roommates. They was eating together. They was breaking bread together. They was eating sandwiches together. Like, they know each other. And like Deonna was trying to tell her, she said, I don't know who this Tony is, but I want the Tony that I know. I want to wrestle that Tony. I want to wrestle this Marilyn Monroe. What you got going on? So you had that. You had what you said? Is there input?
I will say this one thing, and not even necessarily about them, but this segment brought out the corniest of the corny on Twitter the next day because there were a bunch of people, they harp on this, what's the story with AEW? And literally they laid out everything that you could possibly need to know before they showed the tattoos. And he's like, I don't know what the tattoos mean. Y'all are idiots. Just bottom line, just idiots. Like, they gave you every piece of detail that you would need to know. The bottom line is we were as close as sisters, and now I don't know you and I want your belt. Done. That's the story.
Mm-hmm. That's I don't know. Some people, like I say it all the time, George Bush, if it wasn't for that bill, a lot of people would be left behind. George Bush signed that bill for a majority of the people in the IWC. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But the match on Dynamite, it was Thunder Rosa versus Red Velvet. It was Thunder Rosa first day back in Dynamite. She was in Collision, but she was in Dynamite, solo match in Dynamite. Great match between the girls. I love Red Velvet. I love Thunder Rosa. They did really, really, really well. Strong style match between the two. I want to see more Red Velvet on my TV. I love when she do her little interest thing. The dudes was screaming, they was barking and stuff. I heard them through the TV. They don't know how to calm down. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. It is crazy. Y'all have to calm down.
Yeah, you're right.
It's cinema. 2 great matches between the ladies. I love seeing this. Women business is also a great start in AEW. In Collision, it was 2 women business matches. Mariah May versus Lady Frost. Great match between those 2 girls, especially Mariah May. And I love Lady Frost. She is just so dope. The way that she used gymnastics in her move set, it is very unique and different. You could arguably say it's lucha, but this is actually different to me. It gives like ballerina, it gives art, it gives Shakespeare when she wrestles, and I like it a lot. And Mariah May, for her to be a very pretty girl, and all the beauty, you could tell she's one of those like beauty, popular Regina George type girls. But when she get in that ring, when that bell ring, ain't nothing pretty about it. Okay, she's definitely very lethal. Okay, and she's getting used to American style because she was in Japan, so she's getting used to having to kind of not go full speed sometimes, because you could tell she catches herself a little bit. Like, damn, okay, let me slow down a little bit. But she's getting there. And then on Collision, my girl, the Professor, came back, Serena Deeb. So that's my girl, but she fought Robbie Renegade, and of course, I love Robbie Renegade. It was a great showcase for Serena. It wasn't a job match. Like, Robin Renegade was giving her work, but Serena Deeb was just showing that just because I was injured don't mean, nothing stopped. And then she got on the match, and she was basically saying everything, yeah, y'all cute, but I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed with what I've been saying. Y'all, the Chris Statler, y'all, is cute, but y'all ain't me. So she said she coming for the belt. We don't know which belt, but she said the women's championship. So Tony Storm, look out, because Serena Deeb coming. And also on Rampage, which this is also a story too, but with Ruby Soho, it was Anna Jay versus Ruby Soho. And like I said last week, I give respect to Anna Jay because she wants to wrestle. She wants to keep trying, and she wants to get better. And you can see it when she does wrestle. But this Rampage match, this match wasn't her fault. This was, I don't know if Ruby Soho is wrestling with a chip on her shoulder, but she ain't been hitting it as of lately. And so I'm not going to put this on Anna Jay, because Anna Jay was actually trying and actually working, but I don't know. It wasn't connecting to me with Ruby Soho. I don't know what she got going on, but you got to focus, baby. We off to a great start. We don't need you regressing, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? If you got to take a day, take a day. Okay, because she was kind of looking like Britt Baker out there, and I ain't like that. I ain't like it. I ain't like it one bit. I'm like, this ain't Ruby Soho. I don't know what this is. I don't know who this is. So that's my women's business. Like I said, I don't do women business the other week anymore because I'm trying to, we're in a good direction, and I want to keep it positive and just, elevate the girls. Some of them, I was asked don't do it, so I'm just gonna do it this way. But I'm proud of what I'm seeing from the AEW's women's division is getting better. The only thing that I will nitpick on, TBS champion, where you at? Julia Hart, where you at?
Was that 2 weeks she's been off?
Yeah, Julia Hart, where you at?
Yeah.
Come on.
They had her down there for the segment for the cage, but she hasn't wrestled on TV.
Right, where you at now? Because Chris Statlander had, she put the prestige back on that belt now. Yeah. Come on. I'm just saying. All right, so that's it for women business. So we're gonna get into the main topic. The main topic, of course, we in the season of Revolution. Revolution is March 3rd in North Carolina, Greensboro Coliseum. It is damn near sold out. I I feel like Revolution is going to make up for World's End. World's End was not such a great pay-per-view for AEW. That was probably the first one that wasn't so great in a long time. And I feel like Revolution will deliver. It is Sting's last pay-per-view. And my guess is they will come in Revolution with the tag team titles. I feel like they will defeat Ricky Starks and Big Bill and end up winning the AEW tag team titles. The question is, who will they face at Revolution? Who do you think if they were to win the tag team titles?
It's going to be the Bucks for sure. Yeah, it's definitely going to be the Bucks. I think there's two ways. Like that's one way. If you want to just go for ridiculous amounts of heat, and I don't think they're going to do this, but if I was writing it, I would do this, is in that match that Sting and Darby have against Ricky Starks and Big Bill, have the Bucks interfere and cost them. And that's Sting's first loss on TV. And he never, ever gets a chance to win a title. And now Sting is going for revenge. You either get your revenge or you never get it because this is your last match either way. So if you want to go for like real heat, have the Bucks cost them the match, whether it be because they're EVPs and they do something underhanded contract wise, or just old school, come out, distract the ref, something like that. I don't think that's what they're going to do. So they're probably going to win the titles on Dynamite. And I think it's going to be, I think Sting is probably going to go out the way that veterans always want to go out, which is, taking the L, and they're going to get Bucks as the new champs. But if you want to go for, fans throwing shit from the stands into the ring levels of heat, have them cost Sting this match right here. And then Big Bill and Ricky Starks go on to another program, and now Sting and Darby are out for revenge against the Young Bucks.
Right. So would you think that they will have that for the main event since it will be Sting's last match, or will they put it like towards the opening?
I think it should be, because that's what is the most emotionally, that's where the most emotion is going to be for the night. I think 15,000 or whatever they're selling, this being a sellout, and they're going to open more seats. The majority of those people, as soon as we knew, this is the last time I'm going to have a chance to see Sting, that's what's selling the tickets. The AEW is obviously on a roll, especially since Samoa Joe has won a title and everything seems to be clicking. But as far as what's selling those tickets for this is definitely the Sting retirement. So I think you have this as the last match, and win, lose, or draw, you give him the stage and just allow the pay-per-view to go overtime and just have him say thank you and shake hands with everybody that he possibly can. Because imagine being a match to have to follow Sting's last match. Nobody can follow that. That's a rough spot to be in. Yeah, like this, it's way too much emotion for it to be anywhere but the last match.
That is my icon. I've loved seeing the moment I started watching WCW, and watched a little bit of him when he was in TNA, and then of course when he returned to WWE. And I said it all the time on Twitter. That's when I hated Seth Rollins. I never forgave him for a long time for almost killing my icon in front of me like that. I did not appreciate that. I turned into Bret Hart. I sounded like him.
I was about to say, neither did Bret. Yeah, Bret ain't like it either.
Bret Hart said that man is reckless and he don't need to wrestle anymore.
Yeah, Bret'll give it up.
He is reckless. That is a reckless wrestler.
Bret'll give it up.
Also for Revolution, they are slick teasing it that we know that we'll probably end up getting it is a match between Samoa Joe, Swerve Strickland, and also Adam Page. What do you think? You think that's what we're gonna get, or will it'll be a Swerve and Adam Page have to fight it out first, and whoever wins has to fight Samoa Joe? Do you think it will be a handicap match, or do you think it will be something different?
This is tough because I'm not sure how long Joe's going to have the title. I think the triple threat is a way for him, because it's tough. Like Hangman and Swerve are on such a roll that for them to just take a loss right now, it's weird, because especially Swerve, like it seems like I think Swerve is going to be the guy to eventually beat Joe, like just flat out. I think Swerve is going to be the guy to eventually beat Joe. So I don't know, like if it's Hangman versus Joe 1-on-1, how do you get past Swerve, to even put Page in that position in the first place, especially considering that Swerve beat him twice. Like even understanding that the rankings reset, optically, I know like, yo, you took 2 L's already. So I don't know. I think it'll end up being a triple threat just because I think that it's eventually going to be a one-on-one with Swerve and Joe when Joe loses that title. So I think the next pay-per-view cycle after Revolution might be Joe and Swerve. So a triple threat I think kind of protects it. Because it can always be something where, there's between Swerve, like Joe was just basically picking the bones of the Swerve versus Hangman in the midst of the match, and that, cheap victory so to speak, but it at least gives legs for the next pay-per-view cycle.
Because it's all, to me, it's like whoever takes that pin. So if he ends up pinning like Adam Page, I'm gonna be like, okay, I see what they're gonna do. Yeah, I'll be like, okay, they definitely gonna put Swerve to that title picture.
It's interesting, and AEW doesn't really do triple threat world title matches like ever, So if they do go in that direction, that's something fresh.
Yeah, it's just like when the first Revolution, no, that was Double or Nothing, when it was Kenny Omega versus Orange Cassidy versus Pac. And I believe it was Pac that got pinned and not Orange Cassidy. Exactly. So that's why I was like, oh, they may starting to build Orange Cassidy as a wrestler and also, put him part of that, main roster stars for AEW.
Legitimize him a little bit.
Yeah. So we have that. And then, of course, for Revolution, I feel like it would end up being Deonna Purrazzo versus Toni Storm for the AEW Women's Championship. Again, they have a storyline. It's a possibility somebody, the rumors are saying, she may show up to Revolution. I don't know. I'm not gonna say that she is. I just gotta see it for myself because you never know with Mercedes. She say one thing, end up doing something else. So I'm just like, I won't know until I hear the money theme song that she got. Until I hear that, I'm not gonna expect her.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I'm not trying to let myself down.
Yeah, I'm not getting disappointed. You know what I mean? I'm not getting disappointed.
I'm not gonna disappoint me.
Honestly, if that is the match, I think Deonna should take it. Because Toni Storm Toni Storm's character is so on point right now that and then like the best of Toni Storm happened. This version of Toni Storm rather happened because of losses. So this is gonna give her another reason to go back into losing her mind a little bit more and kind of go deeper into that character. She's one of the very few characters that really doesn't necessarily need a championship. I think she got it because she's probably connecting the most right now with the fans. But the character has so much legs that and then if you move Deonna Purrazzo over and have her do her thing maybe with Mariah, there's so many ways that this can go that are really really interesting. So I don't think Toni Storm loses anything by taking that L and losing the title, personally.
Yeah, I can see that. I also see that Deonna won't win, but I can see them putting the TBS belt on Deonna before they give her the AEW Women's Championship. And I say that because I feel like they are going to push for Chris Statlander to be AEW Women's Championship soon.
The last year of matches that she had, that reign, she has some of the best matches, period. There were nights where she had the match of the night, a few nights, So I can see that, she's incredible in the ring and she's consistent since she came back from the injury and she repackaged herself a little bit and, she's coming out doing the sign language, top to bottom, she's connecting really well. She's connecting really well. She's like the ace of that division right now, in my opinion. She's the most reliable. You can put her in there, her in the match against Willow, that was a solid match. So I think that would be pretty interesting too. I like to see that's a fresh feud also for Toni Storm if they go in that direction, And it's also fresh to see what does Chris Statlander even look like in a main event program. So as far as a testing ground and a proving ground, that'd be pretty cool too.
Right. Because when I noticed we talking about AEW, but when I was recapping the women's Royal Rumble, I said if I had it my way, I feel like Royal Rumble should be like the one pay-per-view that you allow all promotions use their top stars to enter. It will make it's money. It's a great idea. You can showcase everybody. People get a chance to be in a ring with certain people. Because I was just like, I know Jordan and Bianca had a great encounter, but fucking Chris Statlander and Bianca have an encounter, that is way better.
Right.
In my like
even
just
like
a stare
Camille,
down.
anybody that's in like that has that build. I just want to see them stand across from one another. Camille is another
yes.
one. You know.
That's always been my fantasy book, and I'm like Chris Statlander versus Bianca Belair. I just want to see it one time. I don't know where I will see it, but I just want to see it just once. Or Chris Statlander, Rhea Ripley. That's fine with me.
Ripley. Yep.
She gonna tear you up. Megan, oh yeah, I forgot Megan Bain is coming back. She's coming back from Japan, so I'm interested in seeing how that is. Megan Bain versus Chris Statlander is money too. That is the money. That's money too. Also for Revolution, we know it's gonna be Roderick Strong versus Orange Cassidy. I know that's gonna be a good match between those two. Roderick Strong is a good wrestler. Orange Cassidy is a good wrestler. So I know that's gonna be a good match off rip. I feel like Roderick Strong would end up winning the AEW International Championship belt. Orange Cassidy did his just due with the belt, and he ended up winning it back because the Moxley injured himself and Ray Phoenix injured himself. So they have to give it back to Orange Cassidy to put that prestige back to that title because he was the longest reigning champion last year. But I feel like Roderick Strong is going to end up having a belt, and all the Undisputed end up having gold except Adam Cole, and I guess for their little storyline with Wardlow, like we talked about earlier. I could say this probably be like in the middle of the match, middle of the card, but it will be a great match nonetheless. It will over deliver. I feel like they will deliver.
Yeah, like there's nothing shabby about either. Roddy Strong is throwing 7, 8, 9, 10 backbreakers, throughout the match. And then Orange Cassidy, like the first half of last year, people had Orange Cassidy in the running for Wrestler of the Year. It was that good, that first TNT Championship reign. So, the match itself is going to be fire. And the question always with a title change and Orange Cassidy coming out of this without the title is like, what's next for Orange Cassidy? Where does he go? With the rankings and the standings, he's not going to take more losses than wins. So once he gets his wins up, what direction does he go? It'd be nice to see him mix it up. It would be nice to see with these wins and losses for them to figure out a way to divide these different belts. They got 4 men's titles that should be maybe different divisions. So what are the differences that people have to contend for in each division? But the match itself is going to be fire for sure. Like Roddy Strong, he knows how to pull a classic match out of anybody when he really gets busy. He works at such a pace and a speed, and he hits hard as hell.
I wouldn't mind if Orange Cassidy take a little break. He deserves the vacation. He was a workhorse for us last year, and they called him back for this. So if he's out of the picture a little bit and then make a return, I wouldn't mind that because he deserves it. But if he don't want to take a vacation, and he has been wrestling a little bit aggressive, especially towards Trip Beretta. Their dynamic has not been the same. So maybe they're going to do something with that.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that for a second. Like they've been showing that there's a little dissension. After the match, I forget who Trent was in the match with. But he lost and he kind of like shoved Orange Cassidy away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dynamic ain't been the same.
100%.
Yeah. And also in Revolution, a possible match. FCR got to include themselves somehow. I feel like they are going to still roll over this House of Black thing. I feel like that's not ending.
Because I don't know what House of Black really is going to do. Like, I would like to see solo runs, especially from Brody and Malachi. Buddy, like all of those guys can go. Tag team run, they did the trios thing over. I don't know. Like that's one act in AEW that, the match itself, sure, like the cage match was dope, but like, all right, cool. What's the next combination? And I don't have an answer for that. I can't even predict what direction they're gonna go.
Maybe Mongol Embassy or the Gates of Agony.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd like to see Brody just run solo for a little bit.
Me too.
Let the other two dudes do whatever they want to do, but let me see Brody.
Yeah. Obviously, it looks like they hinting at Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson. We may get that at Revolution as well. Probably for the belts.
Yeah.
We may get that. And I know that's gonna be a banger because when they had a match against each other for at the Continental Classic, it was definitely a banger. And Bryan Danielson just doesn't like Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, he's spitting at him. He's walking by him without looking at him. You know, he's calling him a bum. He's saying the best moment of your career was beating me, and that's why that was the worst moment for my career, and that's the best you're ever gonna do. You know what I mean? So I don't know, like for the longest time, Eddie Kingston has been like the underdog who doesn't have titles, and now he has these three. And it's like, at what point does like his body break down from defending it all over the place in three different promotions theoretically? What happens when he can't keep up anymore? And is that what's the story, or what the story is going to be with Bryan Danielson? You know, and Bryan is like
I
a
feel like
guy
that's
that,
what it is.
yeah, I think Bryan this has been a long time coming as far as having a singles title period in AEW. So maybe this is it, you know. And we see him like he has the match against Sabre Jr. in February. Ring of Honor is always there whenever he feels like doing it. You know what I mean? So that could be a situation where Bryan is like, I just want to wrestle anybody, and that gives him a lot of runway to do that if he has those three titles. And then Eddie can always fight. Eddie's like the comeback kid. He's the guy that doesn't need to be on top forever to get the best out of him.
Right. And another match possible, Christian versus Edge for the TNT Championship.
I think it's going to happen. I think that's probably when Edge is probably going to actually take the titles. You know, they had two matches already, so I think that's kind of what they're building up to. His whole thing is, I'm going to do this Cope Open, beat a bunch of people to get my record up, so I can challenge you again, and the championship committee approves it. So I think at some point their feud has to stop, and they got to do something else with different people. And I think that happens after Copeland beats him, and we see Copeland mix it up like he's doing now, but with the title on the line.
Right. But that's possibility. That's all I have so far for possible for a Revolution. We never know. They start usually around this week going forward to build up to Revolution. So we'll see where it leads off. We won't know until we see the posters, the flyers of who versus who. But Revolution should be a great. It should make up for World's End, like I said in the beginning. We're off to a great start in AEW. Things are happening. Will Ospreay should return. Maybe he'll return at Revolution. We never know. I wouldn't mind. Now, I don't know if they probably hinted a little bit. They probably going to play around with it. But Will Ospreay kind of shaded Jay White a little bit. So what if
I missed that.
A little bit, just a little bit. Maybe it was friendly fun, but it was just like, I just want to beat you for some reason. Something about your face.
Hey, run it back.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Like, just put it on there for Revolution, just in case. Just, because I like Jay White. I love Jay White. I like Will Ospreay. But we know Jay White is plotting to get the
match. They might do that trios, that solidification. What do you call it? Unification match. That's probably gonna be
yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. But wouldn't that be too bad? They wouldn't let it play out a little bit, like until Double or Nothing.
That might be a little too far for me. Like, this is a cool little. In my opinion, I think this faction is cool for a week or two. And then it's gonna run its course. Then they're gonna start doing stupid shit at some point. So I think like it's cool. I don't know. Like, I can see it going either way, because like they did give them the fresh new music. You know, that doesn't mean that they can't change the old music back when they turn heel and all that. But they've done a lot of work to get the fans to actually cheer for the Bullet Club. So maybe it's too quick to go back the other way. So I don't know. I can see it going either way. But I think, like, if I had to put money on it, I think they do that unification match at because what are they going to do? Like, who else are they going to face with these two sets of belts between now and Double or Nothing is the question.
Yeah, exactly. Or I would say Mongol Embassy, but they doing their own thing, according to what Brian Cage was saying on that promo.
Yeah, he's going after Hook. He said Hook is the size of one of my legs.
Yeah, he's going after Hook.
Yeah.
So you may be right. You may be right with this one.
Yeah, I think that
You
in my
may be
opinion,
right.
I just don't think that's something that has to be like a 6-month bill for that. Like this could be something that we do real quick. Maybe we run it back on TV, but 6 months of them running together is a bit far for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so that's it for tonight, you guys. Before we get out of here, AO, would you tell them your Twitter handles where they can find you and where they can tune in and everything? The floor is yours.
Absolutely. I mean, for starters, just want to say thank you for having me on the platform. Peace to everybody at Public Enemies, the homie Graham. Yeah, follow me everywhere. I'm at IMAO Baker. The podcast, I'm 1/4 of the Ringside Club. We're live every Thursday, YouTube, Twitter, X, Instagram, all of that. Sometime between the hours of 9 and 10 Eastern time. But check us out. Everything you need to know is at theringsideclub.com. So peace to Book, peace to Ron, and peace to Chat Lord, the other 3 members. Follow us at the Ringside Club on X on Twitter, and tap in, man. That's really it. Appreciate you once again for having me on the show, and you're welcome anytime.
No
I definitely
problem.
we got to set it up to get you over on our side of things too.
Yes. I wouldn't
Course.
mind getting on y'all show talking shit to y'all.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. So thank you again for joining me. You definitely got to come back. I definitely have to have you back.
I
Be
had fun.
sure.
I had fun.
Yes. Be sure y'all follow, y'all add in, make sure y'all tune in to Public Enemies on Thursdays as well. Thursdays pack, but I support everybody. I try to support everybody. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna have to listen to this person this day and stuff like that. But I do tune in to you guys. Y'all are a great podcast. Y'all are doing. I love what you guys are doing. You guys are essential to this business. The blacker the barrier, the sweeter the juice. Okay.
Appreciate it.
So make sure y'all follow him. Y'all support everybody on the platform and hit my getaway music.
First of all, there's no such thing as white-collar crime. And there's definitely no such thing as black-on-black crime. Crime is crime. Let me explain something to you. I don't care if you have a white collar or a tank top. If you rob me, I'm going to whoop your ass.
Mm-hmm.